Okay, here's the humanitarian general responses to seeing extreme poverty. For me, 45 years ago, I saw really horrible, widespread, systemic poverty as I traveled in Calcutta and other places. As a young person, my natural first reaction was embrace redistribution. And of course, I wondered, how do you get large number of economic haves to have compassion for and give to the have-nots? When you look at this, it's a really great first response for one-off events, disaster, famine. You want to get in quickly. You really want to only do it for a few months. But a century ago, my grandfather embraced Bolshevikism, which is one of many forms of communism. It just so happens all the major leaders of communism started out as rich, entitled, kind of spoiled, out-of-touch young people who came to think the solution is tear down all the existing structure of society and then have a new society where everyone pretty much has the same role, but unfortunately the same very low living standard. There's much more successful proven forms of humanitarianism that do organically work kind of upstream, and that's building better infrastructure, better farming techniques, better health, clean water, all kinds of infrastructure like that. That, of course, is much further long-lasting downstream reach, no bad sides like communism, and it tends to be more effective at giving people simply better education and all those good things. You get a chance to have people have an identity of being successful rather than multi-generationally just receiving help from other people. Eventually, both my grandfather and I, independently at different times, more deeply thought out, to decide to embrace the powerful tools of capitalism, science, and technology to help people not by the dozens, but essentially by the millions. Functional knowledge of those three things are part of a wider culture of success culture, a culture and ideology that has enfranchised billions of formerly poor people. Those who look at the last 2 centuries of poverty and have a broader, truthful, open-minded context, you see the biggest instances of communism leading to unintentional mass genocide of a previously unknown level. It's not 100 million people, resulting from attempts to have a true egalitarian society. This biggest example, communist China, with between 20 and 50 million deaths. Communist Russia, between 5 million and 30 million deaths. Smaller examples abound, like Cambodia, 30% population being called off from genocide. But if we move forward from history, we see communist China created the largest single increase of population, going from the very bottom to close to what we have. It was really massive. Now, there was a large diaspora of Chinese, millions that at least were able to get to other countries, but as China embraced capitalism, that was just a huge event. There hasn't been an example of getting people out of poverty like that. Perhaps in India, that's been the case as they embraced capitalism and means for people to start businesses. Their poverty, like the kind that I saw really bad 40 years ago, has really gone down. Now, unfortunately, the Communist Party today still embraces totalitarianism, which means a lack of freedoms that can lead to what happened to truly progressive students in Tiananmen Square. But I encourage young people to do some altruistic work of the simple kind, getting out of the suburban monoculture to meet people that truly have a need. There's definite value for a period to broaden a young person's mind, to move them towards altruistic pursuits. That's a very good thing, and it can certainly be done and should be done here in America. But even more than that, I embrace young people, particularly ones that really have a mind for learning, to embrace the tools of science, technology, and capitalism for the best purpose, not to just get rich yourself, but to lift people out of poverty. That's a high calling to be able to do that. I can't say I've figured out how to do that well myself. I'm still exploring out that. But what you don't want to do is use divisive politics or manipulation to set people against each other across the many fault lines that we unfortunately have. All that does is makes a multi-generational, less successful culture that just doesn't get out on its own, has their hands out, and ends up disliking the people that help them. We definitely don't want that. What we really want to do is work hard for a path that can bring more knowledge, less addiction, less gangs, intergenerational crime, failure, and that kind of thing. I'm removed from that existing culture. I've made attempts to try to reach out. I don't know if that would be condemned as being a white savior or what. With the Scouts have been able to do it. I haven't been able to find other means that I can work on that. How you get a group that isn't functioning well to move up, I'm not skilled on that. I look for other people. How do you really do that and make that happen? I am aware there's programs that go on organically at a person-to-person level to try to do that. That's smarter people than me perhaps have figured that out. But as a final takeaway, I ask all people that have a heart, whether it's from a religious view or not, to try to think about some portion of your time, if you're fortunate to be in a successful culture, to figure out a way to take the success culture. How do you transplant that? How do you do some good for other people?